Welcome to News Edge, your sharpest source for daily headlines and deep dives. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stay ahead of the curve. The United States is on edge, its financial heart beating faster as uncertainty looms over Wall Street and beyond. A seismic shift is rocking global finance, sending shockwaves through markets and boardrooms around the world. China is aggressively promoting the yuan in Africa, launching a sophisticated payment system designed to bypass the US dollar and reshape how international trade is conducted on the continent. This isn't just about economics. It's a direct challenge to America's long-standing financial dominance and a signal that the old order is being questioned. For decades, the US dollar has been the world's reserve currency, giving America immense leverage over global trade, investment, and even geopolitics. Now, China's new Africa-focused payment system is chipping away at that foundation, offering an alternative that could gradually erode the dollar's supremacy. By encouraging African nations to trade in yuan, Beijing is building a parallel financial universe, one with less US influence and more room for emerging economies to assert themselves. This is about more than just money. It's about power, influence, and the future of the global order as we know it. The BRICS bloc, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and now other interested nations, are pushing for alternatives to the Western-led financial system, seeking to level the playing field. They see the current system as favoring the US and its allies, often at the expense of developing nations and rising powers. By developing their own payment systems, these countries are taking concrete steps to reduce their dependence on the dollar and Western-controlled financial infrastructure. They're also discussing the creation of a new common currency, a bold move that could further disrupt the status quo and redefine how nations interact financially. Through these efforts, they're signaling a clear desire for a multipolar world, one where no single currency or country holds all the cards. China's payment system in Africa is turning these ambitions into reality, making it easier for businesses and consumers to operate outside the dollar's reach, with potentially far-reaching consequences for global commerce. For everyday people, these moves could impact everything from gas prices at the pump to mortgage rates at home, as currency values and interest rates become more volatile. A world where the dollar isn't supreme could mean more economic volatility, with currencies fluctuating and markets reacting to new sources of uncertainty. As China pushes forward and the US weighs its response, the global financial landscape is transforming before our eyes, with new alliances and rivalries emerging. The outcome of this contest will shape economic realities for generations, influencing where investments flow, how businesses operate, and what opportunities are available to future leaders. The stakes are high, and the contest for financial supremacy is just beginning, with every move watched closely by governments, corporations, and citizens alike. The world is watching as the balance of power shifts, uncertain but aware that history is being made in real time. The future of global finance hangs in the balance, and the decisions made today will echo for decades to come. China's economic playbook in Africa has evolved. It's no longer just about infrastructure. Now it's about financial infrastructure built around the yuan. More African nations are signing on to use the yuan for trade and investment, strengthening China's grip. Countries like Nigeria, Ghana, and Angola are adding the yuan to their reserves and trade settlements. For them, it means easier trade with China and less vulnerability to dollar fluctuations. Chinese banks are expanding across Africa, offering yuan-denominated loans and services. This embeds the yuan into African economies, laying the groundwork for it to rival the dollar regionally. As more African trade shifts to yuan, China's influence grows, and so does its vision for a new global financial order. The yuan's rise in Africa is as much about geopolitics as it is about currency. Egypt is now a key player in China's yuan expansion. The two countries' central banks have signed agreements to boost yuan use in trade and investment. China's UnionPay is expanding across Egypt, making yuan payments easier for tourists and businesses. Banks in the China-Egypt-Jeddah-Suez economic zone can now transact directly in yuan, bypassing the dollar. For Egypt, facing dollar shortages, this partnership offers new financial lifelines and aligns with a global shift away from Western-dominated systems. Egypt's move gives China's currency ambitions a powerful gateway to Africa and the Middle East. China's cross-border interbank payment system, or CEPs, is its answer to SWIFT. Launched in 2015, CEPs was designed to facilitate international payments in Chinese yuan, providing a direct alternative to the Western-dominated SWIFT network. As China's global influence grows, so does the importance of having its own financial infrastructure. CEPs lets countries like Egypt settle trade in yuan, bypassing US-controlled financial networks. This means that nations can conduct business directly with China, reducing their reliance on the US dollar and avoiding potential disruptions from Western sanctions or policy changes. SWIFT has long been a tool of Western power, enabling sanctions and controlling global flows. When countries fall out of favor with the West, access to SWIFT can be restricted, making international trade and finance difficult or even impossible. CEPs offers an independent channel for nations wary of US policy or sanctions. It provides a secure, reliable way to move money across borders, giving countries more control over their financial transactions and reducing vulnerability to external pressures. As more banks join CEPs, doing business in yuan becomes easier, accelerating its adoption. The network is expanding rapidly, with hundreds of financial institutions worldwide now connected, making cross-border payments in yuan faster and more efficient. China is urging banks in Africa, Asia, and South America to connect, building a global network parallel to SWIFT. This outreach is part of a broader strategy to internationalize the yuan and strengthen economic ties with emerging markets. For African nations, CEPs means faster payments and less exposure to US policy. It also opens up new opportunities for trade and investment, allowing local businesses to interact more directly with Chinese partners. The rise of CEPs signals a shift from a unipolar, dollar-dominated system to a multipolar world of competing networks. As more countries seek alternatives, the global financial landscape is becoming more diverse and competitive. The architecture of global finance is being redrawn. New connections and payment systems are emerging, challenging the old order and creating fresh opportunities for collaboration and competition. The world is moving toward a more complex, decentralized financial landscape, where power is shared among many players and innovation is reshaping how money moves across borders. The BRICS bloc is considering a bold move, a new common currency to challenge the dollar. The goal: break free from the dollar trap and reduce vulnerability to US policy and sanctions. While Russia and China are enthusiastic, others like India are cautious, wary of losing monetary sovereignty. Some suggest boosting trade in national currencies as a first step. If created, a BRICS currency would likely be backed by a basket of assets, aiming for stability and trust. The idea isn't to replace the dollar overnight, but to offer a credible alternative and gradually erode its dominance. Even without a common currency, these discussions are driving practical cooperation and new payment platforms. The debate itself is a sign of a shifting global order. The push for de-dollarization is gaining momentum as more countries and financial institutions begin to question the long-term dominance of the US dollar in global markets. For decades, the dollar has been the world's king, serving as the primary reserve currency and the backbone of international trade. But now, its supremacy faces a coordinated challenge from emerging economies and shifting geopolitical alliances. Still, most experts agree the dollar's dominance won't disappear overnight. The global financial system is deeply intertwined with the greenback, making any transition slow and complex. Its strength lies in the trust it commands, its unmatched liquidity, and the stability of US markets, which continue to attract investors from around the world. No other currency matches its global security and ease of use. Yet, the dollar remains the preferred choice for international transactions and reserves. But central banks are diversifying, adding more yuan, euros, and gold to their reserves, signaling a cautious shift toward a more balanced global currency system. Investors are advised to diversify too, hedging against a more multipolar currency world where reliance on a single currency could pose new risks. If the dollar's role shrinks, America could face higher borrowing costs, reduced economic leverage, and less global influence, impacting everything from trade to foreign policy. The exorbitant privilege of the dollar, its unique benefits and power on the world stage, is at stake as these changes unfold. While not an immediate threat, the trend toward a more diverse and competitive financial world is real, and it's accelerating as nations seek alternatives. U.S. policymakers are watching closely as the landscape shifts, preparing for a future where the dollar may have to share its throne. The U.S. political response to de-dollarization is heating up. Former President Trump has threatened severe tariffs if BRICS launches a rival currency. Such a move could spark a global trade war, disrupting supply chains and raising prices worldwide. A currency war could trigger a cycle of economic conflict, harming everyone, including the U.S. The dollar is more than currency. It's a pillar of American power. Any threat to it is seen as a direct challenge to U.S. leadership. The risk of retaliation is forcing BRICS to weigh the costs of monetary independence. The future of global money will be shaped as much by politics as by economics. Beyond talk of a single currency, BRICS is building practical alternatives. The BRICS Pay project, a blockchain-based payment system, aims to let members trade directly in their own currencies, bypassing the dollar. Blockchain offers speed, security, and lower costs compared to traditional banking. This new network would shield BRICS from outside political pressure and sanctions. These projects, along with China's CIPS, are creating a parallel financial universe. The shift is happening now, not in some distant future. As these systems grow, the world's reliance on the dollar for trade will steadily decline. The world stands at a financial crossroads. China's moves in Africa and BRICS ambitions mark the dawn of a multipolar era. Multiple currencies and payment systems will coexist, reducing the dominance of any single country. This shift brings both opportunities, like lower costs and innovation, and risks, such as more volatility. Exchange rates may fluctuate more, requiring businesses and investors to adapt. The geopolitical stakes are huge. A world with several reserve currencies means a more balanced distribution of power. America's exorbitant privilege could fade, and economic blocs will compete for influence. The rise of CIPS and blockchain networks points to a decentralized networked financial system. This isn't just about the US versus China. It's a fundamental reshaping of global finance. Everyone, individuals, businesses, governments, must adapt to the new realities of money and power.